So picture the scene. The year is 2006 and you are a successful architect with your suitable architect clothes on, and everyone in your office has some sort of Saab, because Saab was still a thing then and that was the sensible alternative choice for the discerning architect. However, you're different. You don't want to get a boring old Saab that everyone else has, so you pop into the Mercedes dealership and you buy a 200 Kompressor CLK because you think, I'm not mad, I'm not getting a 320, I'm a sensible architect, I just want a stylish vehicle with good fuel economy. Well, they were mistaken there, you don't get that. So you buy your car, you're pretty pleased with it, you pop into Woolworths and you purchase the latest copy of Now, That's What I Call Music, which is Now 63. You whack it in the CD player and you blast down the motorway to your architect's office. We're going to do that now. So it's a 5-speed auto, not the 7G Tronic or whatever it's called, which does give this car a bit of a relaxing sort of drive rather than performance. Although I'll talk about the ride comfort with these wheels, the 18-inch alloys, it is a smooth car. The gearbox is smooth, the engine is torquey low down, but it's certainly not in any way quick. I mean, it's 163 horsepower, but this is one heavy ass car, so you really don't get the performance, but you do get a little bit of a low down torquiness to the engine. Yeah, it's okay, but nothing special. But where it excels is the comfort of the seats and the adjustability. They're really comfortable and you can set them perfectly. Even with my quite narrow frame, I've got the bolsters sort of holding me in place, which is nice. I'm 6 foot-ish and I could sit behind myself in the back. I mean, headroom's probably not too great, but it's more of a cruiser, a GT, not a performance machine. Ideally, I probably would have got maybe a 320 or even a 500 if you can find one of those, the V8. But this was a sort of opportunity I couldn't really refuse. It's 23,000 mile, one old lady owner, full service history, blah blah blah, and it's just immaculate. So I thought, oh, I'll go for that. Maybe I'll get slightly better fuel economy out of it as it's going to be a daily driver. Well, that's turned out not really to be true. I'm getting 30 mpg, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. I mean, I've got my other car, which is a 2019 Vauxhall Astra, 1.6 turbo with 200 horsepower, and that gets 40 mpg no matter what I do with it, and it's way quicker than this thing. I mean, the 0 to 60 on this car, 9.9 seconds, which it's not great. I think at least it's under 10. I guess that 0.1, maybe they were going for that. Well, we must make it under. I can't do a German accent, I'm not going to try. So we must make it under 10 seconds. And they did, 9.9. I'm just going to give it some beans and see if I could explain to you how it feels acceleration wise. Because you're obviously not going to tell. I'm not going to get shoved back in my seat, I can tell you that now. But let's kick down and see. Get some low down torque from that supercharger, which is quite nice. It's useful. You don't get any lag like with a turbo. You've always got that just a little bit of power. It's always there. You don't have to go up to high revs to get it. It's fine. It sort of suits the character of the car really. With the 5-speed auto, it's pretty chill. You don't really want to be dragging it around driving fast. I mean, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. Maybe if I'd got the CLK 500 I'd feel different, but I mean, again, it's okay at speed. At 80 or 90 on the motorway it's pretty happy. The revs are not that high, but to get there it takes its time. As they said in the reviews for the car at the time, the clock is the same size as the rev counter, so kind of giving you an idea of how this car should be expected to be driven. I thought it was quite funny, but then of course the AMG models and the 500 have the clock the same size as the rev counter, so they're talking a lot of aren't they, really? Something that they got right with it is, again, to sit with the sort of GT characteristics, the armrests are just perfectly located for each elbow, for you to just fingertip the corner of the bottom of the steering wheel on either side and just sort of very relaxingly drive it. Yeah, some cars you can't do that. And this car's running on 18-inch alloy wheels, which I mean they're original specification wheels, but they obviously, therefore the tyres are pretty low profile, and honestly for this car I think I'd rather just have 17s and get that bit of extra ride comfort. However, the wheels do look nice, and overall they do look better, so it's a choice you have to make. And ride comfort, again, with this car, because it's the Avantgarde, it has, I believe, slightly harder suspension, which is, I mean, I think if I was to spec this car, if it was even possible, I'd combine the Avantgarde and the Elegance trim, because the Elegance comes with wood trim, which looks a bit, I mean, I know I'm in my 30s now, but it's a bit old man. So yes, the aluminium panels in the Avantgarde look nice, but I think I'd rather have the, and this is my inner old man coming out now, I'd rather have the smoother suspension. This isn't a performance car, so yeah, smaller wheels, softer suspension, that'd be nice. Oh, that's a nice old queue for McDonald's there. It's just about to spill out onto the road and block the traffic up for everyone. I've seen it do that. No one's got anything to do, and obviously you can't even go into McDonald's, so some people are driving around doing car reviews, and other people are going to McDonald's. Gotta just stick to driving about, talking to myself. Now, with this being rear wheel drive, I do like it. I've had four wheel drive before, but everything else has been front wheel drive, and it does give you that sort of feeling of being pushed along or whatever instead of pull. Now, something I've mentioned in my other little video you may have seen, or you can see later, is the fact that this car just has no cup holders in the front, and that, for a GT cruiser, strange oversight. But I think the German cars of the early 2000s, for some reason they didn't do cup holders. I mean, there's some in the back, but they're no use to me. Maybe they just thought, well, we're sensible, we don't need people drinking while they're driving, even if it's coffee, and that's fair enough. So now I just take the time to stop and enjoy the drink before I get going again. Or I have an espresso and put it in the little secret compartment, it just fits in there perfectly. So maybe the Germans wanted us to drink espresso, I don't know. So, come on. Yeah, never in a hurry in this vehicle, and I like it. You'll get there probably in a similar time anyway. So here we've got a very disgustingly bumpy road that maybe one day the council will do something about it, but I mean, yeah, you really feel it with the Avantgarde suspension and the 18s. It doesn't quite fit with how I'd like this car to be, but once you get moving on at speed, the suspension's not that bad. It's just, you really don't want to hit any big potholes or anything. But I have to say, compared to my other car, the Astra, this is superior. It's smoother, quieter, more comfortable. I mean, I don't know, maybe as you watching this, you're a Mercedes guy, you know that already, but I was kind of always under the impression that a modern car, like a brand new car, especially as like apparently the Astra's quite, looking at all the reviews, it's pretty good car, you know, it's well built and so on. I would have thought that the Mercedes might sort of at least be on par with it, but no, it's just better. I mean, the other thing with this car versus the Astra, at 70 miles an hour in the Astra, I had to really crank up the stereo to hear, let's say, a podcast, and it didn't feel good. It felt like I was going to blow my eardrums out. Whereas in this thing, yeah, you can hear it. You don't have to turn it up really high. The road noise and wind noise is less. So through the magic of editing, you've found me parked up outside the Mercedes-Benz dealer on a slightly less clement day. I was having a look at the servicing costs for this car, and I think, to be fair to them, they don't charge more for this car. It's not like they're like, oh, we don't want to see this on our, we don't want this old car to sully our image. But either way, the servicing costs are kind of prohibitive. You're talking, for a B service, which is the major service, £450, and then for an A service, which is the interim one, you're still talking 300 and odd. So I don't think I'll be taking it to this garage. I've noticed that the Mercedes-Benz dealer has brought out all their cars that match today's weather. And that is just a sea of grey. Oh, a blue one! What's that doing there? Features wise, it's got some fairly modern stuff like your auto headlights, auto wipers. Both work well. I tend not to have to think about putting the wipers on or the headlights. It's also got an auto dim rear view mirror. So you've got your power fold mirrors which fold in when you lock the car, which is good. You don't have to worry about them getting smashed off. So safety wise, the Euro NCAP didn't test the CLK W209, but they did test the C-Class at the time. That got a 5-star NCAP rating, which you can't really compare with a modern 5-star rating because they do update their testing quite frequently. But I think it does give you a good idea that, at least for its time, this was a safe car. And I've counted there's at least 8 airbags in here. Your standard 6 in the front, and there's even 2 curtain airbags for the rear passengers. So yeah, even they're protected. Now, if cars had souls, I wonder how this car would feel being amongst all these new boys. Would it feel inferior, or would it feel superior? Well, you don't know what I've seen in my time. You guys are in for a rough time, if you even make it to 15 years, which, to be honest, probably won't, most of them. On the practicality front, it really isn't too bad. The boot is big. You can fold the rear seats down. The only problem you've got, like with any saloon, is there's quite a narrow sort of slot to get your suitcase or whatever into the boot. The door pockets will fit your bottles just about. So if you've got a drink in a bottle, you can fit it in there. So a couple of things I really like about this car, and they're only small sort of features really of the design of it being a coupe, is the pillarless design. So all you have is this little strip behind me here, and that's not a B pillar, it's just part of the rear window, and basically just a seal for the 2 windows when they're up, and the seatbelt butler, which is just cool. And I mean, I guess it's the reason it's there is because the mounting point of the seatbelt is too far back, and you end up trying to grab it. Yeah, and then we're going to get wet here, but just the big open expanse of space is great. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the CLK. If you're thinking of buying one, let me know in the comments. Be interesting to know what you're looking for, really. If you've already got one, then what do you think of it? I love it. It's a really great car. Yeah, so like and subscribe and all that, and cheers.